Good evening, you're watching Eswatini TV News Bulletin at 8, read to you by myself, Notile Sitole. First up, here's a look at tonight's headlines. It's now all systems go for the official opening of the third session of the 11th Parliament on Friday. The Minister for Education has unpacked the plan for the opening of schools for the 2021 calendar. The High Court is not convinced by the Crown's claim that suspect Ntuthuko Dlamini is a flight risk. And now, our bulletin in detail. The highly anticipated speech from the throne by His Majesty King Mswati III on the occasion of the official opening of the third session of the 11th Parliament will draw the attention of the nation and the world at large. Preparations for the state event are at an advanced stage, and today all stakeholders involved in preparations met for the last time in Parliament.
His Majesty King Mswati III will on Friday map the way forward for the country when he officially opens the third session of the 11th Parliament. Preparations for the state event are at an advanced stage. Parliament was a hive of activity today during the last rehearsal, which will usher in the event come 10 a.m. on Friday. Parliament presiding officers and other stakeholders involved in ensuring the smooth running of the state event met to finalize logistics and to tie up a few loose ends ahead of the event, which will be held under strict COVID-19 safety protocols. The number of parliamentarians who will be in attendance has been reduced significantly, and members of the public and diplomats will follow the speech from the throne from the comfort of their homes on national television and on social media platforms. All those who will be accredited to attend the event will be tested for COVID-19 in the morning and given hand tags once cleared. Other steps that have been taken to ensure the safety of attendees include the fumigation of Parliament, which is expected to take place on Thursday. On the news, I'm Sandile Makanya reporting from Parliament.
The Minister for Education, Lady Howard, says government's plan for the opening of schools is that schools with a lower enrollment will conduct lessons the normal way. Then schools with a higher enrollment will allow pupils to go to school on different days. The minister said this on Gusile Breakfast Show today.
Grades kusuka grade 0 kuyofika ka form 5 sibukeke ukuthi tikolo letine enrollment lencane le around 150 bona bangakhululeka batawukhululeka bakhona kuya esikolweni cishe emalanga onke bese ke labane enrollment le above 150 bona batawusebenzisa I rotational schedule. Okay. Shothi they'll rotate. But otherwise sifiso sethu ukuthi siwavula onke ema grades ngoba sibuka ukuthi nalomnyaka lophele ingcumbi yalabantwana bakakhona ukuthola chance yokufunda bese ku accommodate le minyaka lengi2. Okay. Seyita ngalendlela vele leseyitawuvala letikhala tonke ngeke kusavakala lokhu bekunetikhala mane vele kutawusebenzeka kakhudlwana ngoba nema resources atawusebenzeka kakhudlwana ngoba neti method le start isebenzisa lapho sitawubhica nje sendele ukuthi bamfana babambiseke kugcine wonke lo msebenzi siuthwele wonke sawuphuma nawo etulo bonke bamfana batawuqhubeka baye embili bocwephesha bethu be curriculum sebayizamile kuyifoca kuvala lama gaps la vulwe ukuthi kulomnyaka lophelile asikakhona kuba semaklasini sebayibukile bothishela batawu workshop wakahle ukuthi sitayihandlisha kanjani I-curriculum yethu nga-2021 ngoba itabe seyibambe nekwa 2020 lokungakendeki. Uma ngabe tikolo sekufanele tivulwe ngaleyo date leti tawuvulwa ngayo eventually ngoba lokhu kusetawuhamba dingoni letine ngama stakeholders lamanenge so utawukhanza ukuthi sekuyashintsha somehow but uma ngabe le decision yakuvula vele seyifikile itawuphuma ngalo office la prime minister ayiphumi ngathi iphuma isimemetelo lesikhulu.
Eswatini High Court Judge Justice Ncinisile Mabuza says she is not convinced why the Crown says former Minister of Public Works and Transport Ntuthuko Dlamini is a flight risk. Mabuza said this when she continued to preside over Dlamini's bail application for 2 murder cases and 1 for attempted murder.
When the bail hearing for former Minister of Public Works and Transport Ntuthuko Dlamini continued, the Crown Counsel's Busiso Gama pleaded with the court not to grant Dlamini bail, as he is, among other things, a flight risk. Gama says due to Dlamini's status, he may flee to another country, which Eswatini does not have an extradition agreement with. However, High Court Judge Qinisile Mabuza says the submission by the Crown was far-fetched, as it has not demonstrated if Dlamini has friends or relatives outside the country, which he normally visits, who can assist him after escaping the country. On the other hand, Gama says if Dlamini was to be granted bail, his life will be in danger, as residents around his home area are still irate and they can attack him in revenge of the offences he's accused of. Dlamini's lawyer, Nengcedo Dlangamandla, disputed submissions that his client's life will be in danger if released on bail, saying Dlamini's family, including his wife, is living freely. Dlangamandla says the residents have been threatening to cause damage only on Dlamini's property at Mhlabubovu. Gama proceeded with his submissions. He says Dlamini's assertions that he is a diabetic person should not be considered by the court as one of the reasons that he should be granted bail for medical reasons. Mabuza requested the Crown and Dlamini's lawyers to submit medical records which show how severe is Dlamini's sickness. Dlamini says another reason why Dlamini should be granted bail is because he needs to raise funds for an advocate who will represent him during the trial. Dlangamandla says counsel that she has identified cost around 48,000 emalangeni per day. Dlangamandla says Dlamini can only raise this sum only if he were to be out of prison. Dlangamandla submitted that should Dlamini be granted bail, he will not return to Galamkapi and a relative will work close with him in running the businesses. She further submitted that what makes things worse is that in prison he can only have a single visitor in a month, which makes it hard to manage his businesses. The Crown says Dlamini's trial is expected to start soon, as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution will on Tuesday meet the Chief Justice to request for a judge which will preside over the matter. Judge Mabuza says the Crown should present in court when Dlamini's trial will begin, as such information will help her as she make a ruling. On another hand, Dlangamandla says it is not only the Crown that needs to be ready for the trial, as Dlamini's advocate will also need to give dates when he will be available. Judge Mabuza says he will announce his ruling soon. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Nhlanhla Nxumalo, says the long queues at the Mbabane district offices are caused by a system which is currently working on a very slow pace. Nxumalo said this during an interview with Eswatini TV.
People who were found in the queue at the Mbabane district offices, which are under the Ministry of Home Affairs, say they have been here for numerous times to get national identity cards, but they have not been getting assistance. Some individuals say due to the long queue, they arrive at the offices as early as 3 a.m. However, they are turned back as only 50 people can be assisted a day. Home Affairs Principal Secretary Nhlanhla Nxumalo elaborated on some of the challenges faced by the ministry, which has resulted in the long queues.
You will remember that since the COVID-19 outbreak, the Ministry of Home Affairs is operating on certain days. For example, on Tuesday, we issue national identity cards. You must also remember that not all civil servants are back at work. Another thing that causes the queue is that from the 1st of March, fees for services will hike, so there is scramble. The reopening of schools has also increased the number of people who seek services as they need certain documents. Government's decisions to freeze hiring also has an effect as some posts have not been filled.
Some of the people interviewed by Eswatini TV say they did not understand the operations at the district offices. They allege that they are not given good services as the officers do not communicate with them on what exactly was causing the delay.
Ngidowenda i-ID ngicabanga sekwesi-5 ngidalana solo ngiyajika and asinakwa nekunakwa.
The people allege that some individuals come at 8 a.m. and jump the queue because they know some of the Home Affairs officers. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Giane Msibi Mbabane.
The Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority company, EPA, is inviting local companies and businesses to participate in this year's Taiwan exhibition. This is part of the economic cooperation agreement signed between Taiwan and Eswatini in the year 2018.
The Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority company, EPA, has once again invited companies and businesses to exhibit their goods in Taiwan. Their first 3 trade shows for the year include Giftionary, which will take place from the 22nd to the 25th of April 2021, followed by Food Taipei, which will take place from the 3rd to the 26th of June 2021, as well as the Beauty Show in July. Last year, Eswatini exhibited and benefited companies to trade deals amounting to 17 million Malangeni. EPA's Manager of External Trade Promotion, Sibusiso Mnisi, says opportunities exist in a wide range of sectors where local companies can participate and create demand for local products in global markets. Some of the local products from Eswatini that were exhibited last year include soap and scrubs, natural oils, dishwasher products, ceramics, handcrafts, furniture, leather, amongst others. He says, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they encourage businesses to put together export strategies to sell their products through e-commerce. He says, BuyEswatini.com will continue to operate permanent virtual exhibition sites and a catalogue of goods and services offered by companies in Eswatini. Reporting, I am Kian MCB, Mbabane.
The Cancer Department in the Ministry of Health has asked parents and guardians to be cautious of cancer symptoms amongst children because, if not immediately attended, they will result in permanent cancer damage or paralysis. Lomalanga Hlope of the Ministry of Health says cancer comes in different forms in children.
While on the 15th of February, the world commemorates the Children Cancer Day. Eswatini is not spared from children cancers, as there are children with different types of cancers, as well as that sometimes resemble symptoms of adult cancers. Lomalanga Hlope, the cancer registry officer in the Ministry of Health, says they have trained nurses on children cancers, symptoms, and means to treat them. She asks parents and guardians to observe any symptoms and get their children to hospital as soon as possible before it could get worse.
0 to 14 kepha singaphindze ke sithi 0 to 19 years kuye ngethi sifuna kucwaninga luphi ihlobo lamdlavuza.
She says it can be children from 0 to 14 years or 0 to 19 years depending on which type of cancer they are dealing with at that particular time. She says the lymphoma cancer is most common, as well as leukemia and kidney cancer amongst children. She says parents must seek medical help as soon as possible and be on the watch out for white cloud on the retina of the eyes. The WHO Global Initiative for Childhood Cancer, launched in 2018, will translate into an additional of 1 million lives saved, or a survival rate of at least 60% of children with cancer to be attained by the year 2030. I am Kian MCB for Eswatini TV News, Mbabane.
A section of the road at Maduma area in Mbabane has been closed due to a landslide caused by the current rains. Deputy Police Information Communications Officer Nosipho Mnguni says no motorists were injured.
Section of MR3 public road along Makolokolo has been closed due to a landslide, and cones have been placed on the scene to warn motorists. This is the same spot where the road was damaged by a rock a while ago. There is another landslide down the same road by Manzana area, which Deputy P. Corps Nosipho Mnguni warns motorists of. She says motorists affected are those using Babane lanes, but they are able to share one lane.
Following persistent rains that started on Friday, we have noticed a number of public roads being damaged. We would like to urge motorists to be on the lookout when using the Ngoyoyo Road at Maduma. The barriers have collapsed onto the tarmac, resulting in one lane being temporarily closed. Drivers are therefore urged to be patient when using this road and give each other a fair chance to pass. We would like to inform them that once the road has been cleared, we will come back and let them know. But for now, we would like to urge them to be very careful as they drive by this road.
Deputy Pico urges motorists to drive safe in this rainy weather. Reporting, I'm Lungile Makakula with Mbawatube in Babane.
Manzini Infant Practicing School Principal Jabulile Nkambule says they were able to achieve the best EPC examination results because of motivation of the learners and the limited number of learners per class.
The Ministry of Education opened schools mid-last year so that completing classes could return to school for face-to-face teaching and learning under strict COVID-19 regulations. This effort was made to ensure that external examination classes did not lose in terms of syllabus coverage and were well prepared for the external examination. On Monday this week, the Minister of Education released grade 7 results, which she said were the best in 10 years. Manzini Infant Primary School was one of the many schools that excelled in the examination, and the principal says they managed to achieve the best results because of the limited number of learners in class. She says 47 out of 122 pupils got merits. She says the pass rate has increased yearly since year 2017.
COVID, so but then after everything, we got to motivate the learners, and we had a motivating team, parents, and our REO. He was so much behind us, motivating us, making sure that whatever we needed. And Nebatali parents, they were able to help us. They were with us every day. So we had to motivate the learners, get them together, give ourselves more time with them, because as we were keeping the social distancing and all the numbers, so we're able to take more time for each group.
She commends the ministry for resuming lessons and ensuring that learners are safe, and parents who also played a role in the passing of their children. Reporting, I'm Lungile Makakula with Mwatube in Manzini.
The ongoing rains have damaged infrastructure at Jeze Primary School in the Shiseleni region. The Shiseleni Regional Education Officer Siboniso Kumbi says the school will not be opened until the classes and toilets have been rebuilt.
The ongoing rains have resulted in classrooms falling off at Jeze Primary School in the Shiselweni region. Classrooms at lower grades have fallen off, as well as toilets that were all made of clay bricks. This happens when school will open for the 2021 academic year anytime, because the ministry is currently engaged in talks with stakeholders on the opening of schools. The Shiselweni REO, Sibonisa Kumbi, confirms that they have received a report on collapsed walls at Jeze Primary School. He says they will take it upon themselves and write to the relevant authorities for immediate assistance. He says they will write to the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education, who will in turn send relevant authorities to assess the situation. He says should schools open, Jeze Primary will not, because without pit latrines, it will be pointless to send pupils to school. I am Kian MC for Eswatini TV News, Mbabane.
A very good evening once again. You're still watching Eswatini TV. Now we'll take a look at our sports news. Eswatini's top female sprinter Phumlile Nzinisa says she has done all she could to prepare for the Olympics qualifiers. Nzinisa says her first games will be this month in South Africa.
Athletes all over the world are busy with their preparations for the Olympics Games that are scheduled for July this year in Tokyo, Japan. Some of the athletes have already qualified for the biggest sporting event in the world, and some are still looking at getting their required points to qualify. Local athletes are part of those who are still looking at securing their spots for the Games. Phumlile Nzinisa, who is a 100 and 200 meter sprinter, is currently in South Africa, where she is busy with his training and will also be competing in some qualifying games.
I-competition yami iqala imhla ka-20 February yesibili ibe mhla ka 24 February, yesithathu ibe mhla ka 3 March. Solo lapho ndabe solo ngitilolongela ukuthi ngiqualify ngizame ukuthi qualify.
Zinisa says her first games will be this month and also in March, where she will be hoping to qualify, as she believes she has done all she was supposed to do while preparing, and now she just needs to see how she does in the competition, and it will be then that she will know where to improve. But for now, she's very confident and she has done everything and addressed all areas she felt was lacking since the national championships last year, and now she's ready to compete.
Last year na yonke into ngiyende kahle, so nyalo ke ngibheke ukuthi na yonke into lengitayenda kule competition kube yinto letangichaza kwana nami.
Zinisa says this time around she wants to be able to qualify on time, not getting wild cards, and she believes she can be able to do it even though they haven't been active for some time because of COVID. The games will be played from the month of July and August this year in Tokyo, Japan. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi. Mbabane.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at tonight's headlines. It's now all systems go for the official opening of the third session of the 11th Parliament on Friday. The Minister for Education has unpacked the plan for the opening of schools for the 2021 calendar. The High Court is not convinced by the Crown's claim that suspect Ntuthuko Dlamini is a flight risk. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Everywhere you go, MTN.